On my YouTube channel, I often use the term music production, and in the last few months, I've noticed that a lot of people think that music production is only the fact to make beats and instrumentals. I wouldn't say it's wrong, as beat making is very often an important step in the music production process, but music production is much more than that. It's a long process that can be separated in several very specific stages. And I think nowadays it's essential to know all these stages and what each one involves, because the more you evolve and grow in the world of music, the more you'll have to understand and master all the stages of music production. And it's also important for yourself, because if you know what the music production process involves exactly, you will find it much easier to structure your mind and move forward step by step. This will boost your efficiency and productivity when it comes to building a song, whether it's for you as a singer or a musician, or for a client as a music producer. Now that you know how important it is to know all these stages, I can now start to get to the heart of the matter. Just one thing before I give you the first stage of music production: always keep in mind that the order of the stages is theoretical. Even if the order I'm gonna give you is true in many cases, it also happens very often that the reality deviates from the theory. A lot can happen during these stages, especially in the pro world, but it's important to always try to stay as close as possible to the order I'm gonna give you in this video for the reasons I explained a minute ago. Anyway, the first step of the music production process is songwriting. The goal of songwriting is simple: build the basis of your song. At this stage, you will craft the original lyrics and melodies to create a song. It involves the art of combining words, emotions, and musical elements to convey a message, tell a story, or evoke a specific mood or feeling. Songwriting is really the foundation of a song. Many people think that songwriting is only limited to the fact of writing lyrics, but it's not. It also refers to the melody, the chord progression, the musical universe, and potentially a base of instrumentation. The step that follows songwriting is generally the arrangement. Before hitting the stage of arrangement, the song might sound a bit flat and lifeless, and that's where the arrangement comes in. Arrangement can be seen as the blueprint that shapes the overall structure, flow, and emotional journey of a song. This stage is about organization and creativity. This is where you will determine when instruments enter and exit, how the dynamics flow, and how the energy builds and releases. To make it simple, the three key points of the arrangements are the sections, so you will clearly determine at what point in the song each verse, chorus, or bridge occurs and how often. The dynamics and energy, so you will play with the volume and intensity of each section to add more depth and emotion to the song. And then you have the instrumentation, which is, as you easily understand, the fact of choosing the instruments and sounds of the whole song, but also of each section to enhance the relief and make the emotions move and live throughout the song. When the arrangement's done, you will generally proceed to recording. In music production, this is the stage at which the song can really begin to come to life. At this point, the initial ideas that were merely words and chord progression are translated into performance. This is where the real emotions can be captured. And even if many people think that recording is only about pressing the record button and going to the mixing stage, well, it's actually more complex than that. For an efficient and productive recording session, you will need to pay attention to the preparation and planning, especially if you work with several musicians. You will have to choose the right microphones and the right placement. You will also need to stay active, which means that you will potentially have to coach the artists you work with. You will have to choose the right takes, and above all, it's a step that many amateurs overlook: make a good rough mix. I really want to insist on the importance of this last step, the rough mix, because if you don't do it, you will never have an idea of how the song will look like at the very end of the music production process, and it won't be inspiring for the mixing stage. Mixing, which is, by the way, not the next step of the process. Before proceeding to mixing, there's an essential step you need to go through. But before I explore the next point, if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it if you did it. Now, let's continue the video. And the next stage in the music production process is editing. Editing is clearly not the funniest stage of the process, and honestly, I have a lot of respect for people who specialize in this field, because editing is all about cleaning and giving more precision to the tracks you recorded in the previous stage, and it requires a lot of patience. But this step is an essential one, and if you skip it, the tracks you work on will never sound professional, because your songs will lack precision and therefore sound amateur. Keep in mind that there are 3 key points in editing. There is tempo editing, which is the fact of replace each track you recorded where they should be in the song. This one is the one that requires a lot of patience, as the smallest milliseconds are important. There is pitch correction. It generally includes all the monophonic instruments, especially vocals, that need to be manually tuned to be perfectly on the key of the song. And editing will also include a lot of cleaning. When you record something, there is very often some background noise, parasites, or also breaths in vocals. All this kind of noise will need to be cleaned up with precision to avoid any problem during the mixing stage. Editing can sometimes be more creative in certain situations, but generally speaking, it's very technical. And even if it's not very fun or exciting, it's a crucial step of music production. When the editing stage is done, you can go to the next step, which is mixing. Mixing is the process of blending and balancing individual audio elements to create a cohesive and polished product. The goal of mixing will be to make the separate tracks you have in your song sound more harmonious and unified to enhance the overall impact and energy of the music. It involves several specific steps, the 5 main ones being the balance, which consists in adjusting the volume of each separate track to obtain the most harmonious whole possible, the equalization, where you will boost or cut certain frequencies of each track to give them more or less space within the mix, the dynamic processing, which consists of using compressors, limiters, gates, or expanders to control the dynamics of each track, the use of effects, which mainly includes reverb and delay, and that will allow you to create a certain depth within the mix, and finally, in modern mixing, there is very often the use of automation, which allows you to write and save parameter values as you go along in a project and let the software read them back on replay. Once the mix is done, the very last step of music production will be the mastering stage. This is the stage that allows the final details of a mix to be fine-tuned for release or upload to platforms. To make it simple, during the mixing stage you apply a different processing on each separate track of your song, while with mastering you bring all these tracks together in one and you apply your processing on this whole. The goal of audio mastering is to ensure consistency in volume, tonal balance, clarity, and overall quality. It is far from being the easiest task to handle, because it requires a lot of attention to detail. For a good master, you will need a precise equalization and good use of compression, but other tools can also help you achieve the best results, such as soft saturation or clipping, stereo enhancement, or limiting. Once you've done all that, your track is ready to be heard all over the world. But again, these steps should just serve as a guideline for your next projects to structure your ideas and be more productive. But it's important not to lock yourself into this framework, or you will quickly get stuck in the process. I hope this video will help you in the future. Before you leave, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel to watch more interesting videos like this one. Thank you for watching all the way through. See you soon. Bye bye.